wanted to share a little practice that I began actually even before my spiritual practice. When my daughter was sick, I I started a program. A friend of mine, she was she was a channeler. She worked with the Pleiadians, and she did a lot of energy work. And I had met her. She came into the gallery and introduced herself. She was guided to me, actually, but she didn't tell me that. It was so funny. It took her probably about 6 months before she admitted that, because I probably would have judged her, and I think she knew it because I was not of her world yet, you know. So, but anyways, but she gave me some really nice little, I'm going to say nuggets. You know, I was being spoon fed with my early days, and one of the things that she had said was to, and I think it was her own practice, and I think I just adopted it. As she said, answers come to me easily, and so I started. Basically using that as a program, but I basically said I'm asking for divine truth, and I would kind of hand over a question, and I would expect the answer. And I don't remember doing it how I did it, but I would ask a question about something. Like, let's say, something would come off across my desk, and I wondered, oh, is that really good? Would that be good for Janelle? And next thing you know, somebody's coming in and they're talking about it, or somebody brings me a book and they're showing me this, or I walk down an aisle and it's right there and I can flip it over and read about it. There's a whole bunch of ways that things were just starting to come to me. And I realized, oh, I've got that program. And I didn't even question it, which is really interesting. That was the early programmer in me, that I didn't even know enough to know that it's not usually that easy to program. I was just so thankful, but I want to say I was just in the flow of trying to help Janelle. It wasn't even about Deborah. I wasn't even considering how that worked or how that looked, or I honestly didn't think much of it. And it wasn't until after she was gone and we start meditating with friends, and my good friend that was a facilitator of these meditations, she said something, to the group at one point, and she just said, "Oh, well, get Deborah to ask the question because answers come to her easily." And it was interesting. She reminded me of that, and at the time, I kind of went, "Oh, yeah, that's right." And it's very interesting. So I started working with that again. Anyway, so I just wanted to share this. I'm not trying to pump myself up. This is when I share, it's because I'm trying to activate. What I'm doing is I'm pulling on that program within me so that others can download it, right? So others can hear it and hear the truth, feel into it and go, yeah, okay, I can do that. And then that's how we share with each other. So there's an energy exchange here, and there's a conscious transmission happening. I don't know if my hands will do any coding or not. I don't know. I'm just kind of in the flow here. But how the programming works, I'm realizing as I'm going along, the programs of just making a proclamation, like that the affirmations they say, where you just say I am, and then you want to say enlightened, let's say, and I'm not claiming that in any way, but let's say somebody wants to be, and so they want to create a program around it. The thing is your mind knows where it's at, and it's going to go into all sorts. It's going to have a contradiction. The energy is going to go, well, that's not accurate, right? And it's going to go into resistance, and it's going to suddenly stir up all the arguments against that as truth, because it's going to have more, especially if you're not enlightened at that moment, it's going to have more presenting to it that you are not than it will to support it. So what you want to do is you want to ask a question, kind of the way I had done the answers come to me, but I didn't claim it. I think I just was asking for divine truth, right? And on certain questions that I would have about things. So the key now in hindsight and looking back, it wasn't that I made a blanket statement every day, answers come to me. It was that I was consciously asking these questions. And that's the interesting thing. So what our brains do, when they hear us ask a question, it's going to start looking for the supporting um, evidence, we'll say, because you're not making a declaration, you're making like you're questioning it. So you're actually asking your brain to participate in finding that. How do I want to language that? It's just finding you the feedback um, for that to be true within you, right? So it's going to start giving you um, like whatever allowances you had for some light to come in, let's say, to support you in enlightenment. It's going to find them and activate them more within you. So I hope that makes some sense. So the question itself is, because that's just the way our minds work. Our minds want to be engaged in the creation. The energy is going to move through and find those pathways that you've got available for those for that the question to work through. Um, and it's got, rather than a blanket statement that's just going to hit a wall of resistance because it's got nowhere to move, it's got nowhere to go. So because we're calling in, there's light coming through, but it's not going to find it. It's not going to be able to take hold in the way in a statement instead. But as a question, it's got a lot of places for it to start working through you to go, this will help you, this will help you, this will help you. And suddenly the questions that you ask are going to start bringing you those answers, because you've activated it. You've given it a job to do, right? And it wants to participate with you. It wants to explore. It wants to give you feedback. But it also it's going to feel the contradiction if you make these claims, and it's going to look at your life in that now moment and make an assessment, and it's not going to believe you, right? And so it's kind of a bad precedence when you are saying something your body knows it's a lie, right? So, and then I just, that doesn't sit well with me when we start trying to lie to ourselves. We really want to, like, that's what the dress rehearsal I like, because it's stepping into a timeline where we're feeling the energy of it. We're practicing the energy of it. When we're there, it's quantum. It's not trying to decide that my life, that I'm it's not overriding the evidence of the timeline that is showing up in my, let's say, my 3D reality. But it's vibrating the new timeline enough. And every time I go there, I would vibrate it more and more so that eventually it can't tell the difference. It's not going to put up the resistance because it's going to find a contradiction there. It's not going to have a contradiction because we're not claiming it's here already. I hope that makes sense. So it's all in how we present it and how we can work with our again with our programming. And so the question piece is a really good one. And be in non-duality around it. You know, your 0 point or your neutrality. You don't want to be in a fantasy or in a or it's opposite, right? Where you're in total judgment of it. You know, you kind of just want to be neutral about it. So ask the question not from a statement where the answer's got any sort of spin, right? Because then you're going to play in, again, you've got the polarization, right? So when you're playing in those equals and opposites, right? Yeah, you're just going to keep creating more distortion in your life. So you want to, and I ask for divine truth, right? And you have to be willing to be wrong. That's the other thing too. And so when you're at your 0 point, and again, non-duality, right? You know that there is evidence for and against everything. That's just the way the universe works, right? So for every particle, there's an anti-particle, right? So it's just the way that works, right? the ions have positive and negative charges. So we're really clear that that's how the physics works. And I work with, I think I've shared it before, with that Mobius strip. And the Mobius strip energy it's masculine and feminine. And so it's, one side over here, you got the masculine, but it might be the inside over here. And then you go to the inside and it's the feminine, then the feminine outside over here. So wherever you are, whether you're more feminine dominant, which is an emotion on this, think more emotionally about this particular thing, or you're more logical about this particular thing, is usually going to cause you to lean in a little bit more of a polarized expectation, we'll say, in an area. So non-duality is when you are letting go of the expectations and you are available for yourself to be shown something completely different, right? And that's the thing. Practicing surrender, practicing trusting your team, your higher self, the universe, and yeah, just feeling the energy of your balanced self, and let it go. Ask the question. Thank your team, for going to work for you. Pretend you've got a whole bunch of librarians running off in different directions, because that's your Akashic records, where who knows where your mind's going to go, right? It's going to maybe even find some really great old stuff that you didn't realize were there, right? And I mean, that's how we're starting to shift and use more of that. Um, the idea of the superconscious, I I believe, and again, I always say I reserve the right to be wrong because I'm still working with these permissions as well. Um, but I believe it's the more we can get out of the old definitions, the old um, structures of light that we put in place, how we related to everything, right? And that's, I mean, it's great. It held it allowed us to experience the world as we've done for all these years, and but now we're starting to shift back home. So we're on our return home. It's almost like and I know that the Mobius strip has got several. Probably goes right down to the smallest form, right out to the biggest. It's in everything, right? And it's all scales and notes and octaves, and I mean, scopes, right? And it just keeps going up. The fractals keep going out and out. So I think we're on the return. I think we've gotten over the hump kind of it, and then the magnetics are pulling us all back home. So from here on in, we've got support, energetic support. And, so even if things are not feeling very hopeful, oh, something wanted to come to balance there. Even if things aren't feeling very hopeful right now, ask, that's a good question for you to ask then, how can I feel more hopeful? Um, how can I be in a state where I am, um, grateful for my magical life, grateful for this beautiful energetic support that I have, right? How might I feel more supported on my journey? How, yeah, that kind of thing. So ask the question. It doesn't even matter who you ask. I mean, if you want to ask a particular, an ascended master, or, an angel, or, people might call it your higher self or your God presence. And, oh, codes are coming in. um, you know, however you want to ask, um, structure it in a way where you can just let it go and have faith it's coming to you. And you can, and if you want to, rather than keep, you don't want to, beat the dead horse and keep asking every day, but you can play with the idea of, oh, I wonder how that question's going to come to me, once in a while, right? And you can, yeah, and ask it in a few different ways, right? And but the key is, it's like, when I created the program, I didn't, I just didn't have much resistance there. Um, I just set it up because it was what my friend was doing, and I thought, okay, I'm going to do that too. I think I guess that's the advantage of being so new at it. I didn't know that I couldn't. right? And that's the key. I think we need to get um, to really be in your observer, where you know that the creator is just, observing your reality through you, and the energy's all there, right? For the your creator to assist you in what you want to create, because that's what your free will is. Your free will is a gift, right? So, and unbeknownst to me, I guess I utilized my gift. I started. That was probably one of the earliest things that I did on my spiritual journey. It's funny when I think back on it. Yeah, because I really wasn't. I wasn't meditating at that time. I was watching some videos of some channelers, some energy channelers, and some healers, because I was trying to figure out if there was one there that could help Janelle. Um, so I was trying to have more faith in that world, right? And it's funny. I was in the early days. I was watching I think it was the Kevin Moore show, and I was still in my polarized, egoic mind, because I would listen to some and I'd roll my eyes and go, yeah, no, that guy's not, he doesn't have, he doesn't know what he's talking about, or I don't know what he's on, that kind of thing. I wasn't buying into all of them. And so, let's say 1 in 5 I really liked, and then I would go to their website and read about them, and then, probably half the time or most of the time I'd kind of go, yeah, okay, interesting stuff, but not for me. And then I narrowed it down to the ones that I really liked. And it's funny, they say that that's the fourth dimension, is the sorting consciousness. So when we start leaving our third dimensional consciousness, we get into the sorting and I think it's the one where we start choosing what we're going to create and what our fifth dimensional experience might look like through that sorting. So my friend was explaining to me that higher dimension of consciousness, that fifth, you can call it the Christed consciousness or golden age, or I don't, whatever your language is. I think the eagle and the condor, there's different prophecies for what this time is. The new human, the new earth teachings, that's kind of thing. I'm a new earth teacher. That's what I've been told. But so yeah, so I think, and I was told that fourth dimension is a short bridge. So we were going to be making a bunch of choices of what we wanted, and how we wanted to show up, and what, because we can't take third dimensional creations with us. So we have to dissolve them. We have to unravel them. We have to see them with their limitations. We have to see, and to get back to non-duality with them, get back to our 0 point, right? And so yeah, when we can get to that state, then I think we can hold our consciousness, more in that fifth dimensional state, because we don't even need to sort anymore. And I think that's what I'm finding is I'm not sorting into camps like I used to. And now when I hear somebody, even if the information doesn't resonate, I see it as a valid creation and a valid timeline. And I kind of just go, oh, I see you. Wow. And I know we chose to create that, or in that way. And I know it served all of us, and, thank you. But I don't necessarily choose what they were doing for my higher timeline. So when I go into my dress rehearsal, I just curate what I want to see and experience there. And I think that's what we're all meant to do. Know thyself is to really get clear on what it is you want to take, not take with you, because it's going to be recreating. I don't even know if it's it might just be totally creating from new. So again, this is me guessing, right? But it just feels as though nothing is going to be created in the way that it was created before. So, yeah, letting all that go. So, whoops, that's an interesting one. Yeah. Whew, where it showed up in my body. I don't know if you can see my shoulders are quite hunched. Something's being elongated there. I'm just going to use my breath to create some space. You start feeling energy move through you. Your breath is the biggest permission you have to let go of any of the tighter energies, anything that feels more constricting, more dense, right? Because that's the thing, is we're releasing our density, because when our bodies start turning into crystalline, they're more fluid. And I just saw a great video today on Instagram. It was very interesting. It was a bunch of sand that was being it had a bunch of air being blown into it, and the way it moved, it looked solid, but then it was liquid. It kind of looked like, I think it's baking soda and water. Is it? I think that you can make it look solid, but then it's hard. Like it looks like liquid, but then it's hard when you hit it or something. I hope this makes sense to people. But there's an experiment out there with some material that is kind of, it's a solid and a liquid. And the interesting thing, the sand in this video, they showed that it was the air, the movement of air over it, that turned it into this liquid. And it was so interesting. And you realize that if it's the air that keeps the particles, they're solid. So when the person hit the sand, it felt solid. But when he did something else with it, whether it was like, it was liquid. And I know sand, but it was moving as one. So it wasn't operating like individual sand pieces. The air kind of did something together with it. It's very interesting. And yeah, we're clearing something. I think this is often our pillar. So it's in our hologram that I'm working in right now. And yeah, so just, you might feel it as though, if you have a sphere, often when I'm expanding my heart energy, my whole body basically is sitting in a sphere, and then going up and down the middle is our pillar, and it's the toroidal field, right? And so that movement of the toroidal energy, and that's what this is really getting a clearing, what were we talking about? So questions, I'm getting answers. I'm not even sure what I have to almost listen to it again to see maybe what got activated in this. So the interesting thing, so all the clairsensitive people that are going to ever come across this are going to understand there's some, it's a clearing going on, right? And that's when light comes into your field, it's going to go to the areas, because it's a divine intelligence, right? So your higher self, your spirit, is always in control and always guiding, right? And if you are in resistance, so let's say you decide that I don't know what's happening, so I'm uncomfortable. Your personality isn't going to get much out of it. So what you want to do is you want to bring in, hand it over to your team, your family of light, however you call in your higher guides, right? And then hand it over to them so that you can trust, right? And they're going to steer it for you. And I just surrender my will to divine will. And I always trust that. I trust divine will. So, because otherwise, our minds get in the way sometimes. And I know, and people probably know, often you'll put on a guided meditation and you fall asleep, right? But you wake up right at the end. What happens is your team put you out because it knew that your mind would have probably not got as much out of it. And there's probably something that it really wanted to work on in that meditation with you. So it slipped you into, probably theta or something, so that you were out of the way, right? So that's the thing, is we want to be conscious in these conversations so you can receive the light codes in a conscious way. So you'll learn where the energy, how it's playing out in you, right? So you don't have to make the exact same movements as me, though. That's the thing. The light codes coming through you, I don't, you know, it's going to work. It's going to show up for you where your definitions and permissions are, right? So, yeah, so hopefully that makes a bit of sense. So, okay. Well, it's kind of nice. My field feels really buzzy. We just got a big attunement there. That was nice. Whew. Yeah, so thank you. Mm. My heart is pulsing. It's a lot of love, actually. So I looked up because I wanted to make sure you knew that I was I'm happy sharing love. I always laugh. This one feels like a guitar to me. So I did a meditation this morning, and I traveled to a temple in the Pleiades with the some Pleiadian emissaries, and we were working with the what was it now? It was a liquid light temple to create a bit more flow in my life, and it was interesting. So I was hopping into these different pools of water, and you know, and some people might see them as colors, and because I'm very physical, this is how it shows up for me. I don't necessarily get the pictures or anything, but boy, it was very interesting how the physical. I was wondering, you know, when I was kind of dissolving in the water, I was trying to figure out how this solid me dissolved in the water. And then that video showed up on Instagram with the sand looking like liquid. And I know that's part of the answers. That's part of that question. When I just thought it, when I was in the meditation, had that thing where I wondered about something, and then that video showed up. So, you know, it's and it's faster manifestation. So it showed up the same day, right? Which is really interesting. So, um, yeah. So trust, you know, that these are available for all of us. So we can get really, um, but the questions have to be asked. That's the thing, right? You want to get really curious. And, you know, you can ask questions about your own mission, right? And how may I step further and be supported in my mission? You know, what I'm here to bring forward of, or more, create more of, or you know, and maybe you're already doing your mission and you just want to feel more supported, or, you know, and it's okay if it's financial abundance that you need, or maybe you just need a partner in your life, you know, whatever it is. But ask the right questions, right? Ask, you know, just trying to think how we can language these things where you're not asking it as if the person is not there. You want to go the how may we meet that divine how can you assist me in coming into a relationship with my divine counterpart, or with I'm just trying to think. We have to figure this out, you know, because it really is. Again, non-duality is the key. You don't want to be amplifying the timeline of where it's not there, whatever it is you're asking for. It's just answers. I guess the good way is to not necessarily ask about the partner that isn't there, ask about can you please show me how supported I am in meeting new partners? That's a good one, because there's no resistance there, and it's not like there's no timeline of lack being stepped on here. It's just, yeah, show me how supported I am, or show me how I can be supported. That kind of thing. Please, or can you show me how I can be supported, or I can support myself, or what? Show me what I can do to. Yeah. Anyways, you understand what I'm saying. It's just playing with the language until you get it right. They say journaling is really good too, because journaling, when you see the sentence in front of you, you're going to right away recognize through your language. So, how your mind's going to interpret that question, right? Whether it's going to confirm something for you, or if you've given it a good job to find the evidence to support, um, this thing, or, like, can you show me the kind of partner that is ideal for me, or something, right? Or can you give me more clues? It's funny. Yeah, those sorts of things. As the questions about the clues, it just, there's a bit of a scavenger hunt going, right, for us. So we need to make it a game, right? Make it playful. And it's very hard. When I'm coding, I'm not really all in on asking the questions. So, in fact, I probably should just be sitting in gratitude. I'm always grateful when the codes are coming through, and I will thank my team afterwards. So, yeah, so whatever this is about, I thank you, thank you, thank you. So we're coming into a beautiful harmony here. Your field is being harmonized and balanced, whatever it is that we've brought in. So, wow, okay, thank you, thank you, thank you. May we breathe all this down into the heart and core of Gaia to be made accessible by all those who are ready. May we seal up whatever is appropriate to seal up. I'd like to thank all those who supported us in these upgrades and activations and expansions and healings that we received. I thank you, thank you, thank you. And so it is. Okay, thank you for joining me. Thank you, thank you, thank you. As always, it's such a pleasure. Sending love.